Hey guys, and welcome back to the Simple Kai Guy channel. Today we are taking a look at this MASIGO dual dashcam, checking out its features, and of course installing it in my car so we can see real driving footage. Let's see what comes in the box and get started. So it comes in this simple white box with just the name, 2-channel dashcam, nothing on this side, not really much on this side either. So let's get inside and kind of see what it comes with. All right, so here at the top we have a 32 gig SD card, micro SD card, very nice, so that comes included. And then we just have two boxes inside, so this is the rear camera, and this I assume is going to be the forward facing camera. So let's get inside and see what it actually comes with. All right, so we have the mounting bracket, I guess. So it has GPS built in, the power comes through here. That's going to attach to your window on the car, and the camera is going to attach directly to this. We have the cable, so this is going to be the charging cable for the camera, or the power cable, because this is not really a charger. There's no battery built in, it's a supercapacitor, so it's going to work really well in really cold or really warm, basically extreme weather. Here is the front-facing camera. Pretty large screen for a dash cam, that's for sure. I think it's like a 3-inch. Big lens on the front here. I think this is going to be the port for the rear camera. We have our power button, nothing on the bottom, micro SD card slot on the left side here, and a few buttons here. So of course we have the microphone, Wi-Fi. Looks like that's a button for like an emergency button. You press it if there's something happening. It's going to store that clip. Even though it does have a built-in G sensor, so if something does happen, it should automatically save that information anyway. All right, let's put that to the side. All right, so the rear camera luckily comes with a long wire, which of course it should. This will go, looks like it's a Type-C cable. I'm not sure if it's compatible electronically, but it looks the same as far as physical appearance. So this will go all the way to the rear of the car where we're going to plug in the camera. And of course, it looks like we have a couple extra stickers. So as you can see, it has come pre-applied with one set, but then you get a second one just in case, I don't know, you need it. So that's the rear camera, not much to it, of course. This is also adjustable, very stiff, which I like, so it's going to stay in place. Yep, that's the Type-C connector that we saw on the cable and on top of the front-facing camera. All right, cool. And lastly is the instructions, which come also with another adhesive pad for the front camera. Let's see what they tell us here. All right, so here are the instructions. This is the basic installation. That's exactly what we're going to do. Connect it to power, put it somewhere in that area, and then route the wire all the way to the rear. Easy enough. Of course, this camera can be powered on for the parking mode, which will allow you to basically do surveillance when the car is parked, but for that you will have to hardwire it to the car. They do sell a special like Power Magic Pro, which is a battery discharge prevention device for parking mode, and I would definitely recommend getting it if you're going to be installing this for permanent recording, and definitely getting a larger card, because you know, if you're going to be parking the car and it sits for a day, you want it to be able to record for a day. I don't think this will allow you to record for a full day on both sides. But anyway, now what I'm going to do is power the camera on and update the firmware to make sure we're running the latest firmware possible. And I should be able to do that just using my phone, which is very convenient. So let's turn it on and get it done. Yes, that's very satisfying. But now what we're going to do is plug in the base. I'm going to plug the base in. This is just a portable power supply. I'm using it basically as a test. So we have the power going to it. We're going to install the micro SD card. After powering the dashcam for the first time, I picked my language, time zone, set the time, and went to the menu. While in the menu, we can of course go to the other section for the setup. So this is not just the video settings, but we can go into the Wi-Fi, and we're going to turn that on because we're going to update the firmware. All right, so I'm just going to use my phone to connect to the Wi-Fi. We see the SSID show up on my phone. I'm going to click on that, enter the password, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Join. Looks like it connected successfully, so we're going to go to the application. And here we can actually connect to the dash cam. I'm going to put that down for the moment. Yes. All right, so after just a few seconds, we have the playback, so we can play back the videos that were recorded earlier, but we can also go back and we can go into the settings, and instead of doing the settings on the camera, which is, you know, it works, but it's not the best experience. If you can do it on the phone itself, it's going to be a lot easier. So those same settings, we can easily switch through them, jump between them, you know, adjust the exposure and all of that stuff very easily. Definitely like that a lot. So we have the video settings, then of course we have the functional settings. So our time zone, speed units, screensavers, sounds. We're going to turn off the sound so it doesn't beep at me anymore. Frequency, that's kind of cool. If you take it to Europe, you might want to switch it to 50 hertz so you don't have the buzzing and things like that. Of course, we can change the Wi-Fi password and a lot of other settings in here as well. We can go to the format and erase all of the data on the SD card, and you know, reset it to default settings in case you want to sell it or change it or something like that. Of course, we can also go to version and see the version of the camera, which is this. I'm going to screenshot that, and then what we're going to do now is go all the way back, exit the dash cam, go to home, and we're going to do firmware download. And of course, I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi since I'm still connected to the camera and it's not going to let me download it. So now that we have that, we're going to select the model A330D, download. Okay, yep, so we're going to download the latest version of the firmware onto the phone. You can, of course, do this through a computer, but hey, it's a lot easier on the phone. Okay, it has been now connected. Great. We're going to go back. Once you reconnect the Wi-Fi, just connect back to the dash cam. We're going to go to settings one more time, scroll all the way down for version, click on version, and now we see that there is a newer version of the firmware. So I'm going to click ready to update and just let it do its thing. So dash cam will be disconnected. Do not connect power until the update is complete. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to hit update. Looking at the camera, it looks like it's done. So we're going to go through the options one more time. All right, and actually I will take this off now because it's starting to distract me. All right. Yeah, that looks much, much better. Reconnect on the phone. Okay, settings, version, and as you can see, we are now on the latest version. All right, cool. So I think what's left to do now is go into the car, get this all installed, and do a real life test to see what the footage looks like from the front and from the back. I do have very heavy tint in the back of my car, so we'll see how the camera deals with that, if we can adjust the exposure enough and things like that. Yeah, once I see the footage, I'll give you my opinion on the camera. Maybe we'll go deeper into the settings if necessary to adjust any of the items. If it just works out of the box as is and it's producing good quality footage, I'm going to leave it as is just because it's easier and that's how most people would do it. So anyway, let's go to the car and get all of this installed and ready to go. Alright guys, so we're in my BMW Z4 and we're going to install the camera. It should be pretty simple. The hardest part is going to be to route the cables to where we need them. So one's going to go, of course, for the power to the cigarette lighter socket, and the other one's going to go all the way to the back of the car to connect the rear camera. I'm going to start with just using this cling plastic that they have included, and I'm going to put it in the spot where I want my camera to be. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to stick this adhesive to the windshield in case I want to change it in the future. But with this, if I want to change the position, I just peel this off the windshield and put it in a different location. So that's pretty cool, and that's what I'm going to do. Of course, when choosing the position of your dash cam, you don't want it to be obstructing your view in any way, but you also don't want it to be behind this tinted area here as well. So I think I'm going to go for somewhere right behind the mirror so I can't really see it when I'm driving and it's not in my way. And it should look pretty good just right there. So I have my clear plastic and I'm going to put it right about 2 inches above where I want the camera to be. I just took the protective film off and it's going to go right there. All right, decision has been made. Next, we just have to route the power cable. We're going to go from the camera input right here up, and then behind this trim piece right here, behind this piece right there, all the way down, and under the glove box compartment and everything else to the power socket. So let's do that now. Of course, it's helpful to have one of these trim removal tools when you get to corners and things like that, so you can pull the trim back just a little bit and put the wire in where it has to go. And now I'm just gonna plug it in. Pretty cool though that this also gives you a USB port. You can flip this over to the side and you get a USB port with the thing. All right, with the front camera installed, now comes the slightly harder part, installing the rear camera. You are looking at the hatch of my BMW i3, so this is the glass that normally goes vertical when it's closed. So what I need to do is somehow install the camera here, but also make it so when it closes, the wire doesn't get caught on anything and things like that. So my idea is to put the camera here in the center, then route the wire through this panel right here, down that part, all the way down to the corner, and then leave a little bit of wire hanging just in this part right there, and then it will go under the trim inside the car and all the way to the front. And the reason I'm putting it here is because the wiper comes through here and cleans it. So this car already has slight disadvantages that this glass is really, really tinted. So it's going to be already difficult to see out of this camera since it's so dark. But I'm trying to give it the best chance it can by putting it right here where it can actually see, at least where it's clean. And the camera is adjustable, so I can move it later on to make sure it's pointing correctly. All right, so now we have the cable, and we're going to do the hard job of running it all the way to the front. So it's going to plug in right there and then go down. I'm going to unplug it for now, leave just a little bit of extra wire in case I need to move it like an inch down or to the side or something. Now we're just going down the same path as we did with the power wire. Same exact thing. Now we can plug in the rear camera and of course the power. Okay. Now I just gotta hide the extra wire up in the ceiling here. And we should be good to go. Yeah, turns on. Gonna go plug the rear camera in, make sure it works. Alrighty guys, so the camera is now fully installed. As you can see, it's showing the front camera and then the rear camera in that corner over there. We of course have the wires routed and hidden behind the panel right there. So that's all hidden. I might put a little zip tie here and hide that even more. If the camera doesn't get affected by the tint at the top, I might even move it all the way up. I'll see, but so far I think I like the way it looks. So of course it's routed all the way through there. The power wire goes down and through that area to here. And then the rear camera wire goes up the pillar and all the way to the back. I think this gives you a slightly better view. So the cable goes through there, up through the ceiling, up and through that panel behind the rubber gasket. Behind this panel, comes through here, comes out, a little bit of wire showing here. Goes on the side of this hinge, inside this little panel here, underneath, and then comes out to the rear. Pretty simple setup, honestly. It took me about 15 minutes to get it installed. Now I'm gonna go for a drive and we'll see how it looks. And in case you were worried that the cable is gonna get crushed when closing the rear hatch, I put the wire behind that cover and then behind this little cover behind the hinge. And there's actually a little bracket where the wire goes perfectly in, and then it goes behind this part right there. Let me just fix the, yeah, right there. And it's inside. There's plenty of space inside. I can put my probably hand in there. And it just goes inside and continues inside. So I left a little bit of slack in there, probably a couple of inches extra so it can close normally. There you go. I have now used the cameras for a few days and played with the settings. All I did was bump up the exposure on the rear camera and made sure it was recording in 1080p. I then set the resolution to 2.5K, which is 2560 by 1600 pixels on the main camera, and left everything else as is. In my opinion, it does not require further adjustments and the quality looks great. I'm also very happy to report that it does not cause any interference with key fobs, which is an issue I've had in the past with other dual cameras. Now let's test out the built-in microphone and see how it sounds. Alright guys, I want to see how well the microphone works on this camera, so I'm not using any external microphone, and at the moment the dash cam sits about, I would say, 2 feet away from me, and I'm going about 40 miles an hour. It's 5:30 o'clock in the evening in Chicago right now, so it's definitely a bit darker outside. The sun has already set, so it's darker. I want to see how well it performs in this type of condition. A lot of the cameras I've had before did not do well in this lighting condition, especially with tint in the back. If you can see anything at all, that's already a win in my book. In the dark, the Sony image sensor really helps capture an acceptable image from the main camera. Unfortunately, due to the dark tint, the rear camera's output at night is not very usable. It does look great during the day though. Of course, what you're seeing now has gone through YouTube's compression, so it may not even look as sharp as I can see on my phone or on the laptop. Transferring files over from the camera to the phone is very easy, but does take some time, which is to be expected since it's using Wi-Fi. Also, I would definitely recommend getting a much larger microSD card as it supports up to 512 gigs if you want to record a full days of video. In conclusion, this is a solid, high-quality camera that you can set up, control, and view footage from on your phone. It has a built-in GPS, G-sensor, supercapacitor, and other modern features. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. Like the video if you think I should make more dashcam videos. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.